Welcome to Inside Auto Podcast, where we feature everyone and anyone you'd want to talk to in and out of the automotive industry.
Ilana Shabtai here, host of Inside Auto Podcast, where we interview top dealers, GMs, marketers, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders in and out of the automotive industry. And before we introduce today's guest, this episode is sponsored by AutoLeadStar.com. AutoLeadStar is automotive's first and leading customer data and experience platform. Top dealers invest in CDXPs to unify dealership data sources, automatically create one-to-one customized journeys, and execute omni-channel shopping experiences. An all-in-one connected platform. Today, we're welcoming Michael Cirillo to the podcast. His friends call him Cirillo. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Right? You go by Cirillo. Like all the cool people call you Cirillo.
Everybody calls me Cirillo. My team calls me MC.
Oh, well, that's fitting because you are the world's best MC.
Oh, now I'm blushing.
Yeah, blush. Well, Michael is the CEO at FlexDealer.com. Top-rated automotive podcast host of the Dealer Playbook. He has experience in the retail automotive industry and is the author of Don't Wait, Dominate. Can't wait to hear about that. If you've heard Michael on his podcast before or Auto Collabs, another podcast you run, I might be even missing some more. You'd know that he has the best podcast voice ever, and he makes pretty funny jokes. So please don't disappoint us today on Inside Auto Podcast, okay?
No pressure.
No pressure at all. No, but I actually really love that MC thing because I heard you at a SO2. You were a moderator for a couple panels, and it was just awesome. You did such a good job. So
you're being too kind.
You're a true MC. MC.
The real MC. I'm gonna wait. Got to get that on Twitter. Gotta go book that. Get that on Twitter while Elon cancels everybody. Maybe I'll be able to get that one now.
No, he's on canceling everybody. Come on.
Oh, right.
Today.
It's happening today.
We'll see. We'll see what he decides to do tomorrow. Anyway, would love to hear your story. Usually here on Inside Auto Podcast, we first talk about how all these crazy people got into automotive. Would love to know how you got into automotive, what your path was, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you're doing today.
I don't want to say I was brainwashed. But
what brought it into the industry?
Yeah, I was like, no, I mean, so family business, and anybody that's familiar with family businesses, obviously a lot of retail dealers and family businesses know that you kind of, you do what you do, right? So my dad had a very successful telephone book publishing company. And so, most kids are out riding bikes and building jumps and building forts and all those sorts of things as 10-year-olds. And I am proofreading the yellow pages and cross-referencing it to our publication because you got to do in a family business. And then, we saw the writing on the wall around 97, sold off that company, took a couple years off, and then got into publishing an automotive magazine. And, our history was who's the biggest player out there and do they have any real competition? So at the time, living in Canada, there was no real competition to Yellow Pages. And so our idea was, let's build not this big, massive, like if you pulled up Vancouver's Yellow Pages, it's like 87,000 pages because it covers the whole Metroplex.
Okay.
Our idea was, well, why don't we make community-based directories so that the businesses in that community can stand out a little bit more or have a chance of standing out a little bit more. So we did that. Now, when it came to the automotive magazine, we're like, there's no competition to the buy and sell. There's no competition to Auto Trader in Canada. Like, let's go. So we did that, did it quite successfully. And then, I saw the writing on the wall there as kind of the torch passed its way organically. I saw the writing on the wall and I'm like, Prince dying. Like, not really dying, but like, this is the sentiment in the industry. Yeah. And so we had this idea that if we could bridge the gap, so to speak, like if we could still get people to advertise in the magazine to buy us some time to figure out this pivot to digital. So what we came up with was a portal called Auto RV World. everything, cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, boats, bikes, marine, heavy equipment, you name it. And we built this portal. And, that really got us into digital. And I remember as a 17-year-old suiting up, okay? Like we're talking double-breasted suits, going into dealerships, freaked out because every dealer was named Dave back then. And they were like 67 and kind of grumpy. At least this was my 17-year-old perception.
I don't know. It sounds like you're kind of describing automotive in 2022, but okay.
Right. And so here I am, I had hair back then. It'd look weird if I didn't. Probably my nickname would have been Caillou if I didn't have hair as a 17. So I sit there, a nice part of my hair like the Prince of or the King Charles now, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'd be sitting there for hours because I didn't have the balls to go and knock on Dave's door, But then when I'd finally get the courage, I'd be like, listen, if you do a double page spread in the book, we will put your entire inventory on our brand new portal site to get you extra exposure. And this was like
were they excited about that, or were they like, that doesn't matter?
No, they were excited about it. They're like, internet. Okay. They became the wacky, wavy, inflatable, flailing arm tube man behind their desk. They were like,
hey, so funny you bring it up because not to change topics, but just because you brought it up, we, as you know, are headquartered in Israel, and we're trying to figure out, a lot of the training to the Israeli product team is like explaining them about iconic American dealerships. Right. And so we show them this tube man and they don't understand. And so someone in the office bought like a little one that sits on her desk now and everyone's like, what is that? Anyway, it's funny that you bring it up. For those in my office, at least, who are listening to this, this is a testament. It is extremely iconic to the American dealership.
And that is the official name.
Yeah.
As per Family Guy, it's the wacky, wavy, inflatable, flailing arm tube man.
Oh, yes, that's true.
So they got excited about that. And that was our foray into digital. Out of naivete, I will say, we built this portal, but, we were in the sticks in British Columbia, Canada. We weren't exposed to like the way we are now to NADA and automotive news and all the different things that are happening in the industry now. So we were like, I guess we need to build a way to manage the inventory. So we ended up building our own inventory management platform.
Ooh.
Yeah. So unbeknownst to us, that would be a massive strength to us over the years. And so as we started to sunset digital, here we had this inventory management platform that was robust. It was, we were listening to our clients and they were saying, hey, it'd be cool if we could have this feature. And we'd be like, on it. And we would roll out. And it was just, you get it. You guys are in tech. Like it was just that organic building of a product. Yeah. And then the next foray was websites. And people were like, we've heard about these things called websites. So we got into the space selling $200 a month websites, with all the inventory. So we kind of, we eased into automotive, if you will, and backed into it. And really, my whole thing was so grateful for parents who taught me that I had 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them proportionately. Because that really helped in business to just listen more than I talk, hear what's happening out in the market. And then, of course, as a marketer and having an interest in that, I was always like, okay, dealers are saying this, consumers are saying this. How do we bridge that gap? Because what dealer may always want isn't necessarily what consumer sentiment is. And so we were just always that's where my mind goes. I'm always like, okay, it's cool that you want to be the number one family owned, operated, whatever. But if that message doesn't resonate with consumer, who cares? Or I know you want to rank for used truck dealer in Vancouver, but if that's not what people are searching for in your market, then who cares?
Right.
Right. And so from there, it's just built. And, over the years, we ended up adding in an agency model to our business where we do full service marketing for our clients and helping them bridge that gap. So we have the tech arm of our business and we have the marketing arm of our business. And that's how I brainwashed myself into automotive.
Yeah. Now that you tell the story, it doesn't sound like you were brainwashed at all, but I'm happy that you got the hook, because that's what marketing's all about, right? You got us hooked. I was like, where is the part where his parents are like, you must do this, you must carry on the family business? But no, you just seem so excited about it.
I did leave out that part that when I was born.
Yeah.
Canadian Thanksgiving Day, 1982. And I came out and my first cry, the doctor was like, did he just say retail automotive?
Oh,
Like I was like, and they're like, see, David's destined.
that's it.
It's written in
Destiny.
the stars.
Well, thanks for sharing with sharing that with us. You've been in the industry now for a while. What do you see, or what do you predict will be some of the biggest challenges in 2023? Just based off of what we've seen in the past couple of years, it's been like a crazy couple of years for automotive. So, I'd love to hear your perspective on this.
Yeah. Biggest challenges are, in my estimation, people need to wake up and they need to start thinking about the infinite game a little bit more and what that actually means. And for heaven's sakes, read a book. Like, educate yourself. We are no longer in a time where you can get by taking somebody's word for it that you heard at a conference who PS was trying to sell you something disguised as a presentation, right? We need to wake up and we need to stop having such blind faith. Now, that sounds really weird as a quote unquote vendor, two vendors sitting here talking about this, but we need to wake up and we need to educate ourselves on what's happening in the market, what's real consumer sentiment. Look at all the buzz about Carvana. Who cares about Carvana? Who cares? They're going to do their thing.
People who hold their stock probably care a lot today.
Right. Yes. Their bowels are quivering right now.
Yeah.
But like where I'm going with this is like, who flipping cares? What just happened is so brilliant. It diverted your attention from what really matters, which is what am I going to do to respond to what's happening in my market, what's happening with my customers, to like what we do. And you could probably speak to this more with your background in psychology and human brain, all of the things, right? But it's like we get so fixated and make everything an absolute.
Yeah.
Absolutely every customer wants to buy a car completely online. Every one of them. Yet your showroom's got customers in it. It's like, well, what about them? Are they not part of the everyone figure?
Oh, who are
We
they?
need to start connecting the dots to see things as they really are so that we can respond with real strategies predicated on how things really are. And that's been our biggest Achilles heel is we just take everything at face value. We think it's an absolute, you know, hey guys, I got 1 million views on TikTok. Cool. Nobody from China and India is coming overseas to buy a car from your dealership in Doglick, Nebraska.
No, but I do. Listen, what you're saying, very good points. I agree. I think the takeaway is that we should care to a certain degree, meaning, okay, what does that actually mean for your dealership?
Right.
Why is everyone not Carvana? Oh, because people are excited about the potential of XYZ. How are you going to compete? Like,
correct. Yeah. 100%.
Let's bring it down a notch. Yeah. I agree.
And pay attention, right? Like what you're saying, pay attention to what's happening, but don't sit here and be like, we're doomed. No, we're not doomed. So the other thing I would say, Ilana, we see this all the time. And those listening will even admit it to themselves, even if it ticks them off to hear it from somebody else. Focus on your people and your process.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with Colby Joyner on my show, and he hit the nail on the head. He's like, why is it 2022 and we're still trying to get people to define their job roles and what they're responsible for? Like, how are people going to work every day being like, well, I got hired as the marketing manager and I don't know why they're from the South, but like,
yeah, wow.
And what am I supposed to do today? And because it's not defined inside the dealership, they can't build any processes because nobody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And then the problem is that sends a signal back up to leadership. And I'm not vilifying leadership, but it sends a natural signal up the line that says, well, I hired you to do this and my expectations are such. But since we've never talked about those expectations and defined them, my expectation of you is going to infinitely be different than what your expectation is of yourself or what you think my expectation is. And now we have a conflict because nobody is achieving the perception of what they want to have happen because they never talked about it.
Yeah, I think also there's just a phenomenon in automotive where people will randomly be assigned to different departments with no kind of training background. It's just like,
Right.
oh, you know what? You're really good at responding to leads that come in quickly. Why don't you become the marketing manager? But that's like a completely different job with very different responsibilities. So I think let's go back to what you first said, which is read a book, educate. I think in general, automotive is very good about staying up to date in the sense and there's definitely training involved, and I think we should respect what's been done in the industry.
Right.
But 2023 for sure should be the year of a little bit broader education and understanding also the applications of technology outside of automotive and what that could potentially mean for automotive without being absolute about it.
Right. 100%.
What works for shoe stores is not necessarily going to work for dealerships, unfortunately. So
yeah, I mean, think of all those years we were like, see, I mean, look what Amazon's doing. Our VDP needs to be exactly like Amazon. Yeah, except the buying process is different for a $78,000 truck versus a Christmas ornament for $899.
But also, what's so funny is I love Amazon. Do not get me wrong. I spend most of my life savings on Amazon. But if you actually go to Amazon.com, it is the ugliest website. Of course, it's easy to check out. And of course, it's everything comes to you fast. But one, their website is terrible. It's just so ugly. It actually looks like a website from the early 1990s. Mm-hmm. And two, their customer service, surprisingly, not good. If you need to actually get to someone, it's a weird callback. You have to kind of put in a chat, ask for an automated call. It comes and verifies you. I don't know if you've ever done it. It's really not great. So it's interesting that we're all stuck on the Amazon when really there are aspects of it that are amazing. And again, life savings goes to them. But I would not recommend their aesthetic. That's for sure.
Well, not only that, I was at, this is a few years ago, 2019, right before everything shut down. I was at Grant Cardone's 10X event, and he had Kevin Hart, famous comedian Kevin Hart. I don't know if I had to give that explanation about who Kevin Hart is, but he was talking about
a good MC would.
Yeah. And now introducing, he was talking about how negativity travels faster and harder. A negative message travels faster and harder. And where I'm going with that is in the industry, because we care so much, I don't think we realize this about ourselves in this industry, that broad stroke, we care so much. So when we get a negative comment, we attribute it to the absolute of, oh, everyone must feel this way. And boy, do we take it personally. So to your point about Amazon, one of the wealthiest, most profitable companies on planet Earth, wealth like this planet has never seen before being generated there, has awful experience, awful customer support, and yet we still keep going. You see, I haven't looked up. I haven't looked at any of the reports of all the people who think Amazon trustworthiness is second on the bottom of the Gallup poll. We just focus on car dealers being that way.
Right.
But the reality is there are far more people having good experiences, I believe, in our industry with local dealers, getting what they want, getting the service that they expect, than there ever are the people that have the negative experiences. By the way, the people that have those negative experiences are also the ones that will take time out of their day to leave a negative review about the 50-cent IKEA hot dog mustard.
Yeah.
So, but we take it personally. And I think with a little more time, Ilana, we're going to look back and we're going to realize, A, how hard we were on ourselves, but B, how big of a strength that actually was for us, because it caused us to improve probably more than other industries. But because we're in it, we think, oh no, we're alone. Nobody else is going through this. Every other industry has it figured out. No, I mean, my sister-in-law is a pharmaceutical sales rep. You should hear the crap she talks about doctors. Oh, yeah. They're messed up. It's messed up.
it's also so interesting because I think there's an old school customer service element to automotive that actually serves it well.
Right.
Like my mother loves going to the dealership. She comes back from the dealership and she's like, that's the only place that treats me like I'm the president of the United States. She's like, I just want to always go back to my dealership because she loves walking in. They know who she is. So there is good customer service. If the training is, like you said, people process, it's still just as important as any technology that comes by. So,
I mean, does the fact that she fills out every lead form, first name, madam, last name, president, have anything to do with it?
Yeah, I know. I was like, you know what? Maybe you should not say your Madam President when you were on the site.
Can I tell you a funny story, though? Because people do get treated differently when they have a title. So something we do at our company with our team is we give out awards, but it's not like a plaque. What I do is I go to this site called Established Titles, and I buy a square foot of land in Scotland in their name because there is an old Scottish rite of passage that if you own land in Scotland, you can take on the title Lord or Lady. And you get a plaque, and so we award it to our team member, and so we kind of, make it look like old English, and they're dressed up in we Photoshop their head on a cool thing, and they get a plaque that says, "Thou therefore art knighted, blah, 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 blah." Well, once when I got mine, I filled out a lead form and it had the drop down that said title. And Lord was on there. And so I selected it. You would not believe how cordial of a callback I got.
That is hilarious.
Hello, is this Lord Cirillo? And I was like, I do say it is. Tis.
Like that too, probably.
Yeah, I wanted to, and then I had to go to Amazon and buy a monocle and a top hat.
Yeah, of course. Even they were on
People
the phone.
treat you different when you show a little respect for yourself, is what I'm getting at.
So basically, within 2 years, you're going to own a nice chunk of Scotland because you're just buying land there.
Yeah, I'm just going to be like, I need to go visit my land. So I'm just standing on a square foot plot of land in a kilt. You're screaming freedom to everyon.
That is great. Cirillo, if only we had all talked to you
I'm
today.
a crazy person. I get it.
So crazy. It's great. Will we see you at NADA? Are you going to NADA?
I better. It's where I live.
NADA?
Yeah.
I thought you lived in Canada.
Well, a year ago,
that was true.
That was true. A year ago, that was true. And now I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will see you in your home base.
Yeah,
Exciting.
It's going to be a blast.
Cool. Will you send me some recommendations where to eat?
Do you like barbecue? You don't understand. There's two types of food here: barbecue and more barbecue. Like when you go to an Italian pizzeria and they have a brisket pizza on the menu, not only do I feel my ancestors rolling in their graves.
Yeah, right.
But it's like, come on, really? Like I might have even accepted pineapple over brisket on my.
Oh, that is actually the worst. All right. Well, either way, excited to see you next month. It's been a while. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're just hilarious. So you can come on the Inside Out podcast anytime, plus especially with that voice. Anytime you want.
Thank you.
All right.
It was a pleasure.
All right, Lord. All right, Lord Cirillo. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
He just bowed. And if you like this episode, please tune in InsideAutoPodcast.com. You can find us on all your favorite streaming outlets. Thanks again. Thanks, Cirillo.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Inside Auto Podcast. Check out our other episodes with top entrepreneurs and industry leaders.